What's up, everybody? This is Eric from Media Computer Solutions. So I'm out here filming, right? And I watch YouTube a lot, and I watch a lot of small content creators, and a lot of y'all guys hit me up in my comments or hit me up in my DMs and ask me the questions, how could I make my YouTube channel better? I'm using smartphones. Smartphones right now has been the device of choice for a lot of people that don't want to shoot with DSLRs, right? And I see some common mistakes, a lot of common mistakes that young content creators make using a smartphone. So in this video, guys, I'm gonna tell you about 5 or so mistakes that content creators make, especially the small YouTube channels, tech reviewers, everybody in between make using a smartphone. So sit back and relax and get your popcorn ready and follow me on this journey. Let's go. What's up, guys? This is Eric back with another video. So a lot of people ask me these questions about how could I make my YouTube channel better using a smartphone, and they always watch my channel and they say, well, easy, you always use smartphone to film all your content. How could you get all that good cinematic footage and everything looks good and all the lighting is great and stuff like that? Well, let me tell you some of the mistakes that a lot of content creators make when filming with a smartphone. The very first mistake is device of choice. I mean, look, here's the thing. Don't fool yourself here, right? When you want to film with a smartphone, you want to get a relatively good smartphone. Now, look, it don't have to be a super expensive smartphone, but it has to be a smartphone that have pretty good cameras. Like maybe, you know, the OnePlus 7 Pro or all my LG phones. The device of choice is always the most important thing when filming for content creators, right? So if you're going to use an iPhone, that's great, right? Most people use iPhone to film with. Some people use Galaxy phones, some people use LG phones, but make sure that the device of choice, and a lot of people make these mistakes, that you have to have a good smartphone, not an expensive smartphone, but you have to have a good smartphone to film as a content creator. All right, guys, so the second mistake that a lot of content creators make is not using the proper gimbals and the proper tripods. And I always use my gimbals of choice. As you can see, I got the S4 Mini here, and I have a DJI also on my tripod here. Let me get this up a little bit. On my tripod, I have a rig. All right, so right here, y'all guys see that I have mics and I have a tripod here. This is some of the common mistakes that a lot of content creators make. They like to hold their phones in their hand, and they don't have a proper tripod and stuff like that. So that is a common mistake that a lot of content creators make when making YouTube videos, is not having the proper tripods. So having the proper tripods is very important, especially if you want to do B-rolls and stuff like that, and you don't want to get that shaky effect. And it's relatively simple to go out and get a very inexpensive a gimbal or a monopod, and I use a monopod a lot, which works great for me. But this is some of the mistakes that a lot of content creators make when making YouTube content, is that they don't have tripods, they don't have gimbals, they don't have stuff that they need when they do their B-rolls and stuff like that, and things be shaking, especially if you're recording in 4K. Another mistake that content creators make is audio, right? And I always talk about external mics versus phone mics. Don't get me wrong, phone mics are good, right? But using an external mic, whether or not you're going to use a wireless mic or a external mic that I'm using right now, it brings in a huge difference when filming your content. Now, right now you're listening to me with an external mic, and I always use wireless mics and stuff like that. Let me take the mic off and let me let y'all guys hear the phone mic, right? Just the phone mic by itself without the external mic. So check this out. All right, so right now you're listening to me with the phone mic. I'm using the LG G8. Now, don't get me wrong, they got a lot of phones that have very good mics, but using the external mic is very important. Definitely important when you want to do content creating. Don't matter whether or not it's tech or everything in between. Especially when you outside like this, or you're at the beach or the park and you got a lot of wind blowing. Using the external mic is so important, especially for content creating. So that's a mistake that a lot of content creators make, is not using external mics. And listen, all this stuff I'm talking about is relatively cheap when it comes down to gimbals and external mics and tripods and stuff like that. So look, if you want to use smartphones as your device of choice for content creating, I just want to help you in this situation. But hey, this is the mic of the LG G8. Let me go and plug back up the external mic. Another mistake a lot of content creators make is not having Pro Mode on the device. Now you got to remember, if you're not going to shoot with a third-party app and you want to shoot with the native app on your smartphone, you got to have Pro Mode. I'm going to tell you why. Because looking at my LG G7 in Pro Mode, I can add wireless mics, I can adjust my white balance, I can adjust my focus, and this is going to be very important. It's because the device I'm filming with right now, which is the LG G8, I got it in Pro Mode and I got it on fixed focusing, all right? And right now I got it on autofocus, but focusing is important, especially when you filming you know, your content creation. You don't want to be blurred and out of focus and stuff like that. So using manual focus is important. Also with your white balance and ISO and everything in between. And this is so important. Look, man, I can tell you that when you shooting on YouTube, right, and you shoot your devices or you're shooting whatever content that you're trying to shoot, and you go into a different lighting scenario, you notice that the lighting changes because you don't have your fixed white balance and you don't have your ISO set. Right? So these are very important, especially when it comes down to focus. Let me give you an example. Right now, I got the LG G8, it's on fixed focus, but when I go out, as you notice, it's blurred, right? Because I got my device right now on fixed focus. So I got it on fixed focus, but if you notice, I don't have autofocus. This is very important, especially you don't get all that focus hunting and stuff like that. Look, you don't want to shoot any of your content on autofocus, right? You have to have it on manual focus when you're shooting your content because, again, you don't want that focus hunt. And this is a lot of mistakes a lot of content creators make. When shooting videos with smartphones is that they're using autofocus, and sometimes the devices don't focus properly on the product that you're trying to focus on. So having Pro Mode is important. Another mistake that content creators make using a smartphone is not having enough lighting. Look, if you're gonna be outside in the bright sunlight, you're fine, right? But when you in your studio or your room or whatever place that you film with, lighting is very important because having too much of a dark scene or not having balanced lighting, it affects the video quality of your content. And having a scene too dark and you can't see the product and stuff like that. So lighting is very important. A lot of mistakes made by not having the proper lighting when filming with a smartphone. Now, listen, man, a smartphone can only do so much. You have to have the proper lighting, whether or not you're gonna have studio lights or any kind of fluorescent lights or whatever in between, even though you're using Pro Mode, even though you can adjust your ISO, even though you can adjust your white balance. But having the proper lighting when filming your content is very important. So that's a lot of mistakes that content creators make, is not having the proper lighting. All right, so I've been jibber-jabbing off for a few minutes now on this video, and I'm gonna end it. The last thing I want to tell you guys, a lot of mistakes that content creators make is using the front-facing camera. Look, don't get me wrong, front-facing cameras on smartphones have gotten a lot better. But if you want to shoot in 4K and stuff like that, look, man, front-facing cameras are no good. Even though they've gotten a lot better, I always recommend shooting with the rear camera all the time. Shooting with the front-facing camera sometimes is a no-go. And you could tell the difference between using the front-facing camera and using rear cameras. Look, the rear camera will always be the best of the best when shooting your content. Front-facing cameras doesn't work unless you're doing streaming or something like that. Always try to use the rear cameras on your device. These are mistakes that a lot of content creators make. I see it all the time. You know, a lot of content creators use the front-facing camera to film a lot of their content. Always use the rear camera at all times because that's going to be the best camera on your smartphone. Before I leave, and I just thought about this, One last mistake that a lot of content creators make before I get out of here is shooting in landscape. I see a lot of content creators shoot a lot of videos in portrait mode. Look, man, take the phone and turn it to the landscape when you're shooting content creation. Think about this. When you upload that video to YouTube, you got black bars on this side, you got black bars on that side. It is not an enjoyable experience for a viewer to watch a video when you're not shooting in landscape. That is one of the hugest mistakes, and don't do it. Just don't do it. Shoot in landscape mode. Don't shoot in portrait mode. Look, if you're gonna post a video on YouTube and you made a mistake by having the whole video in portrait mode, just reshoot the whole video, because it relatively sucks when I see videos that's filmed entirely in portrait mode instead of landscape. Look, just don't do it. Have it in landscape. It looks a whole lot better, and you will give your viewers a very good experience when shooting in portrait mode. I'm shooting in landscape. This is Eric from Easy Computer Solutions. I need to go film my video. But I want to take a few minutes to tell you guys some common mistakes that content creators make when using a smartphone. This is Eric. See you guys on the next video. Peace.